Welcome to the deep dive.
Today, our mission is to cut through the noise on a really spectacular business collapse. We are diving deep into the story of iRobot, the company that gave us the Roomba, and then somehow managed to turn this world-changing invention into a cautionary tale.
And we've synthesized all the source material here for you. It tracks the full trajectory from, these brilliant MIT labs to a billion-dollar valuation and then right off a cliff into Chapter 11.
Right.
For you, the learner, this isn't just about a vacuum cleaner. It's really a masterclass in how quickly innovation can just expire.
We're going to unpack the entire saga. And look, if you find this kind of detailed breakdown valuable, if you appreciate getting straight to the core insights, the aha moments, please just take a second to subscribe and like this deep dive.
It really does help us bring you more analysis like this.
It does. So as we start, we want you to hold a couple of questions in your mind. First, how does a company that literally invented a category let its leadership just vanish, especially with a nearly 2-decade head start?
That's the big one.
And second, in all of this smart tech, does having that little lowercase I prefix actually mean intelligence? Or does it just mean you got there first?
Okay, let's unpack this. We have to start, I think, in the glory days. It's easy to forget now how completely iRobot changed our idea of home automation.
Oh, it was a revolution, no question. The company was founded back in 1990 by some MIT engineers.
Right, from the AI left.
Exactly. And the brilliance of the Roomba wasn't really the super complex tech, but the simplicity of the pitch. They made robots do the really important work.
The drudgery.
The drudgery vacuuming. I mean, this pioneered consumer robotics as we know it.
And the scale was just astonishing. We're talking over 50 million units sold worldwide. It wasn't just a product, it was a cultural phenomenon. It carved out its own slice of internet history. I mean, it became the star of an entire generation of viral content.
A cat video.
The famous Roomba cat videos.
Yeah.
That kind of brand recognition is priceless.
And it's so important to grasp their financial peak. Your sources really highlight this. During the pandemic, when everyone was stuck at home, obsessed with clean spaces, the company was briefly valued at a staggering $3.56 billion.
$3.5 billion. Wow.
And that valuation wasn't based on profits. It was based on the potential of consumer robotics and iRobots, seemingly locked in leadership.
They were the darling of the industry, sitting on this massive valuation with what looked like an unassailable lead. Yet that high watermark, that pandemic boom, led almost immediately into this period of innovation stagnation.
That's the pivot point. The Roomba, for all its marketing genius, always had what we call the reality gap. The promise was freedom.
Right.
The reality, though, it was freedom. Mostly.
Meaning you still had to kind of babysit it?
Precisely. It was a product that promised smart cleaning, but was prone to some really frustrating and decidedly unsmart behavior. It couldn't do stairs, it got tangled up in thick rugs, and the mapping in the early days was, it was mostly just random bumping, not logical at all.
So they leaned into the I in iRobot to imply intelligence, but the actual user experience often felt pretty limited.
It did, and that vulnerability, that little crack in the foundation, became lethal when their billion-dollar lifeline showed up and then just evaporated.
The Amazon acquisition, that was supposed to be the perfect exit, right? A $1.4 billion deal announced in August 2022.
It would have secured everything. It would have given them Amazon's R&D budget, their logistics, their whole machine.
So what went wrong? Why did this perfect rescue just completely fail?
The fatal flaw was regulatory intervention, specifically European regulators. They came in hard, citing huge antitrust and, critically, privacy concerns.
Okay, so the antitrust part makes sense.
Yeah, the argument was twofold. First, Amazon already dominates retail, so acquiring the leader in robotic vacuums would just solidify a monopoly and crush smaller rivals. Simple enough.
And the privacy angle, that's where it gets really interesting for the learner, I think.
Exactly. The EU regulators were deeply worried about the data from the Roomba's mapping technology.
Yeah.
That data, the floor plan of your home, where your furniture is, the whole layout, it's incredibly valuable.
Right.
And the idea of integrating that map data with Amazon's massive commercial data set was seen as a major privacy threat. It would give Amazon this unfair, incredibly detailed look inside people's homes.
For marketing, for targeted ads, for everything.
For everything. So the very technology that made the Roomba smart, its ability to map your home, was what ultimately killed the deal.
That is ironic.
It was a spectacular regulatory brick wall. By January 2024, the deal was dead. And your sources note, founder Colin Angle left right after. This wasn't just a failed merger, it was the entire strategy just breaking down.
So the takeaway here is how they snatched defeat from the jaws of victory. They put all their eggs in this one huge, very public, and highly challenged basket.
And when that basket broke, there was no plan B. The company was left totally exposed with a huge debt burden and no cash coming in to fuel the R&D they needed to catch up.
That exposure led to a brutal, lightning-fast financial freefall. I mean, it's genuinely shocking to see a company go from a pandemic darling valued at $3.5 billion to reporting substantial doubt about survival in just a couple of years.
The numbers are the proof. Just look at Q4 2024. This isn't just a minor dip. This is a category leader completely losing control.
So how bad was the revenue plunge?
Staggering. Revenue nosedived by 44% in that single quarter.
44%.
That's like a business hitting a wall at full speed. That kind of contraction is just unsustainable for any company.
And their balance sheet just mirrored the panic, I assume.
It did. They reported a $77 million net loss in Q4 alone. But the real signal of the crisis was the debt-to-cash ratio. Their debt had ballooned to $200 million, while their cash on hand was down to $134 million.
So they were underwater.
Deeply. That lack of cash, combined with vanishing revenue, sent investors running for the exits.
Which resulted in a 30% stock crash almost immediately. It's clear they were already bleeding heavily before the Amazon deal officially died.
Right. The deal failing just confirmed what the market already suspected. The company was lagging in tech and was financially distressed.
Which brings us to the core reason why they were distressed, the innovation gap. If iRobot was the pioneer, how on earth did they let rivals overtake them so completely?
They settled into what your sources call the heritage brand position.
Which is usually corporate speak for stuck in the past.
Exactly. iRobot kept its premium pricing based on brand recognition from, 2010. They kept offering basic navigation, relying on that "e" prefix to imply features that just weren't there anymore compared to the market.
Meanwhile, the competition brands like Ecovacs and others were defining the next generation of smart cleaning.
Absolutely. While Roombas were still often using, simple optical sensors and just bumping around, the competition delivered true superiority. Advanced features like LiDAR or V-SLAM.
And for those unfamiliar, what does that jump to LiDAR actually mean for the user?
It's the difference between guessing and knowing. LiDAR uses laser mapping, and V-SLAM is vision-based. They let competitor robots build an accurate, detailed floor plan on their very first run.
Oh?
They know exactly where they are, where they've been, where to go next. The old Roomba might spend 30 minutes bumping into the same chair leg. These new competitors map the whole floor and clean it efficiently.
So you're getting superior intelligence, better cleaning, and features like self-emptying stations and built-in mopping, which iRobot was either slow to add or priced way too high.
And here's the real ticker, the price. Competitors were offering all these features, mopping, AI mapping, the works for around $400.
And iRobot's comparable model.
Dramatically higher for fewer features and older technology.
That just drives home the crucial lesson, doesn't it? In tech, we invented this category, just doesn't pay the bills. When you stop innovating, your brand name actually becomes a liability.
Yeah, consumers recognize they're paying a premium for outdated tech. And we can't ignore the other headaches, right? The production delays, the shipping issues, tariff problems.
Sure.
Those were compounding factors, but the primary cancer was the failure to reinvest in R&D. They rested on their laurels while everyone else ate their lunch.
Which brings us to the inevitable conclusion, Chapter 11.
End of the line. By December 2025, iRobot filed for Chapter 11, specifically a pre-packaged Chapter 11, which is a key distinction for you, the learner.
Okay, so what does pre-packaged actually imply here?
It means the bankruptcy wasn't a surprise internally. The company had already negotiated the terms of the sale and the restructuring with its main creditors before they filed. It just speeds things up.
Damage control.
It is, but it confirms they had completely run out of options.
And the acquisition that came out of this filing. This reveals the ultimate stunning irony of the whole story.
It is truly peak 2025 globalization. The company that acquired 100% of iRobot was Shenzhen PICEA Robotics.
Which was?
iRobot's own contract manufacturer.
Wait, their supplier.
Their supplier just became their owner. Think about that power flip. The entity that was just building their devices now controls the brand, the patents, all the IP.
Wow. It completely reverses the power dynamic that defined global manufacturing for decades. The U.S. brand with the IP is now owned by the Asian manufacturer who controls production.
And of course, the CEO, Gary Cohen, used the classic corporate language. He promised this was a pivotal milestone to secure iRobot's long-term future.
But the translation of that corporate speak is,
This was the last and only lifeboat available. His promise to combine iRobot's R&D with Pasea's manufacturing expertise basically means the manufacturer is now telling the old brand what to design based on what's cheap to produce.
the company that couldn't innovate when it was flush with cash is now owned by the company that perfected cost-effective production.
The burning question here, and one we want you to think about, is can new ownership, even with manufacturing skill, revive a brand that failed so badly when it was a pioneer? The damage to their reputation is immense.
It's the ultimate turnaround challenge. This story is just packed with lessons, and we've distilled 3 core takeaways for you.
Lesson number 1. Innovation expires. Being first is a temporary advantage. What was revolutionary in 2002 is just obsolete by 2025.
You have to keep investing in R&D.
You have to.
Okay, lesson number 2. Branding is not a strategy. That iconic lowercase I can't substitute for actual competitive advantages, like better tech and fair pricing.
And lesson number 3. Markets don't wait. While iRobot was betting its entire future on one doomed acquisition, competitors were aggressively closing the technology gap and stealing their customers.
The window for redemption was gone long before the bankruptcy papers were signed.
Mm-hmm.
The Roomba legacy, as your sources point out, will live on, mostly through those wonderful memes of cats riding them. But the company's fate is a crystal clear cautionary tale for every tech brand out there.
It's a brutal reminder that you're always just one innovation cycle away from total irrelevance.
We hope this deep dive gave you the insights you needed, quickly and effectively. If you enjoyed this breakdown, please do us a favor. Subscribe to the channel and like this deep dive. We'll see you next time.